In this video, I'm about to show you 25 beer brands you must stay away from and exactly why they're a problem, as well as 10 beer brands that are actually safe to drink. Number 25. Natural Light. Natural Light exists for one reason: to be as cheap to make as possible. It's brewed using corn adjuncts instead of full barley malt, which cuts costs but also guts flavor. The brewing process relies heavily on enzymes to rush fermentation, meaning less time, less character, and less substance. What you're left with is a beer that goes down fast, because there's almost nothing there. That's not an accident. Thin body and low bitterness make it easy to overdrink, which keeps sales high. You're not getting value, you're getting volume. And those are two very different things. Number 24. Keystone Light. Keystone Light follows the same playbook. Corn-heavy recipe. High-gravity brewing, where they make a stronger beer first and then water it down later. That saves tank space and money, but it strips depth and balance. You'll notice it tastes fine ice cold, but once it warms even a little, it falls apart. That's a sign of a beer built to be consumed fast, not enjoyed. You're paying for branding and aluminum, not quality. Number 23. Busch Light. Busch Light markets itself as outdoorsy and rugged, but the beer itself is anything but. It's brewed with a significant portion of adjunct grains and filtered aggressively to remove anything that might taste like real beer. What's left is a neutral liquid that barely registers on your palate. It's designed to be invisible, so you don't stop to think about what you're drinking or how much. Number 22. Miller Lite. Miller Lite likes to brag about being triple hops brewed, but that doesn't mean much when the malt backbone is weak. Enzymes do most of the heavy lifting here, breaking down starches quickly and efficiently, but leaving little behind in terms of body. It's consistent, I'll give them that. But consistency isn't the same as quality. This is beer optimized for factories, not people. Number 21. Coors Light. Coors Light is famous for being cold. That should tell you everything. Cold masks flaws, heavy filtration removes flavor compounds, and the low bitterness keeps it smooth no matter how much you drink. Once it warms up, you realize there's nothing holding it together. No malt richness, no hop balance, just carbonated water with alcohol. Number 20. Michelob Ultra. This one pretends to be healthy, which already raises a red flag. To hit those low-calorie numbers, the recipe is stripped down to the bare minimum. Rice adjuncts replace malt, enzymes speed things along, and flavor is sacrificed completely. The result is a beer that drinks more like flavored seltzer than beer. It's marketed as a lifestyle product, not a food product, and that's a problem. Number 19. Rolling Rock. Rolling Rock used to stand for something. Now it's just another label slapped onto a mass-produced lager. The brewing process has changed, the water source is different, and the character people remember is gone. What remains is a thin, slightly metallic-tasting beer that leans heavily on nostalgia to stay relevant. The green bottle doesn't make it special. Number 18. Foster's. Despite the marketing, Foster's isn't really Australian beer the way people think. It's brewed under license in different facilities, often with altered recipes to fit cost targets. High adjunct use and aggressive pasteurization flatten the flavor. It's big, fizzy, and forgettable, built for export, not pride. Number 17. Labatt Blue. Labatt Blue looks solid on paper, but modern production has pushed efficiency over craftsmanship. Corn adjuncts lighten the body, and filtration removes complexity. It's not offensive, but it's hollow. Another case of a brand surviving on reputation rather than what's actually in the bottle. Number 16. Pabst Blue Ribbon. PBR used to be independent. Now it's contract brewed across multiple facilities, meaning consistency matters more than integrity. Recipes are tweaked to fit different production lines. That's why one can taste fine and the next tastes flat. When beer becomes a logistics exercise, the drinker loses. Number 15. Tecate. Tecate relies on corn-heavy brewing and fast fermentation. The flavor is sharp but shallow, with little malt sweetness to balance it out. It pairs well with lime because it needs help. A beer shouldn't require accessories to be drinkable. Number 14. Corona Extra. Corona Extra looks refreshing, but that light body comes from heavy filtration and the use of adjunct grains instead of a full malt base. Then there's the clear bottle, which lets sunlight hit the beer and trigger that skunky smell so many people notice. That's why the lime wedge became part of the ritual. It's not tradition, it's damage control. Corona sells incredibly well, but among brewers, it's widely seen as a triumph of marketing over real beer quality. Number 13. Modelo Especial. Modelo is definitely cleaner than Corona, but it's still brewed with efficiency and scale in mind, not depth. Adjunct grains are used to thin the body and cut costs, which strips away much of the natural malt richness you'd expect from a traditional lager. What you're left with is a smooth, easy drinker that doesn't offend but doesn't offer much either, and that's the trick. Smooth can feel satisfying in the moment, but it isn't the same thing as honest, well-built beer. Number 12. Stella Artois. Stella Artois is marketed as a premium import, but once you look past the label, the recipe doesn't back up the price. Heavy filtration and the use of adjunct grains create a beer that's crisp on the surface but hollow underneath. There's very little malt depth or lingering character to speak of. What you're really paying for here isn't craftsmanship or tradition, it's image. Stella proves that a fancy glass and upscale advertising can sell far more than the beer itself. Number 11. Peroni. Peroni uses corn grits in its mash to lighten the body and cut brewing costs, which also strips away much of the malt complexity you'd expect from a traditional lager. It's built to be crisp and refreshing first, not filling or satisfying. That's why it goes down so easily and disappears just as fast. There's no real depth, no lingering flavor to think about afterward. You finish the bottle and realize there's nothing to remember, just a clean, empty finish. Number 10. Heineken. Heineken's famous green bottle might look iconic, but it's one of the worst choices for protecting beer. Light exposure causes off flavors, that skunky note so many people recognize. On top of that, heavy pasteurization is used to keep it shelf-stable around the world, which flattens aroma and dulls taste. Yes, it's consistent wherever you buy it, but that consistency comes at a cost. Heineken isn't brewed for freshness or character anymore. It's brewed to survive shipping, and the flavor pays the price. Number 9. Red Stripe. Red Stripe used to have a distinct personality, something that actually set it apart. Today, it's heavily processed to survive, export, and mass distribution. Adjunct grains lighten the body, and aggressive filtration strips away much of the flavor that once made it recognizable. What's left is a cleaner, flatter version of what it used to be. The beer itself no longer carries the brand, the label, the look, and the nostalgia are doing all the heavy lifting now. Number 8. Sol. Sol is brewed to stay neutral and inoffensive, which usually means the recipe's been stripped down as far as possible. Adjunct grains thin out the body, and there's almost no hop presence to give it character or balance. That's by design. It's meant to be ice cold, refreshing, and easy to drink in hot weather. But once it warms up even slightly, there's not much there. It isn't built for flavor or satisfaction, just quick, effortless consumption. Number 7. Carling. Carling is a textbook example of brewing for profit over quality. They rely on high enzyme use, minimal malt, and rapid fermentation to crank out huge volumes at low cost. The result? A beer that goes down easy but offers almost nothing in terms of flavor or substance. It's efficient for the company, sure, but for the drinker, it's hollow. Carling is built to fill cans quickly, not to nourish the palate or deliver any real satisfaction. Number 6. Bud Light. Bud Light relies heavily on rice to keep the beer light, neutral, and easy to drink. They start with high-gravity brewing, which creates a stronger wort, and then water it down to the desired ABV. That process strips out almost all malt character, leaving a beer that goes down so smoothly you barely notice how much you're drinking. It's engineered to be almost invisible on the palate, keeping you reaching for one more without ever stopping to think about what's actually in the bottle. Number 5. Budweiser. Budweiser proudly calls itself the king of beers, but don't let the title fool you. It's brewed with rice adjuncts and on a massive factory scale, designed to produce the same beer anywhere in the world. Consistency is the priority here, not depth or richness. Every sip tastes familiar, sure, but that uniformity comes at the cost of character. Budweiser isn't crafted to impress the palate, it's engineered to please the widest audience with the least effort. Number 4. Guinness Export Versions. Export Guinness is heavily pasteurized and packed with nitrogen to create that signature creamy head. The problem is, the nitrogen masks the beer's thin body, giving the illusion of richness that isn't really there. Fresh, properly poured Guinness can still be excellent, with depth and malt complexity. But the export versions many of us get? They're designed to survive shipping and shelf life, not to deliver the full experience. What you're drinking is consistency over craftsmanship. Number 3. Carlsberg. Carlsberg was one of the first to embrace industrial enzyme brewing, using patented yeast and enzyme systems to speed up production and maximize efficiency. The focus is on output, predictability, and profit, not flavor or character. What you get is a beer that's technically consistent, but stripped of depth and nuance. It's precision over personality. Every batch tastes exactly the same, which might sound reliable, but it comes at the expense of what makes beer enjoyable. Carlsberg is brewed like a spreadsheet, not a craft. Number 2. Fake craft contract beers. Fake craft contract beers are some of the sneakiest offenders on the market. They look like small batch, independent brews with clever labels and trendy names, but behind the scenes, they're brewed in the same factories as mass market lagers. Same tanks, same recipes, just a different story slapped on the can. You might think you're supporting a local or small brewer, but in reality, you're buying a marketing illusion. The beer itself hasn't changed, it's all packaging and hype. Number 1. Value lagers brewed under multiple labels. Value lagers brewed under multiple labels are the ultimate example of cutting corners. It's the exact same beer repackaged over and over, just in different cans or bottles, so companies can charge slightly more while claiming variety. There's no transparency, no honesty about what's actually inside, and certainly no focus on flavor. It's profit over everything else. For drinkers, that means you're paying for marketing tricks, not craftsmanship. That's why these lagers sit at the very bottom of the barrel. Now, not all beer is bad. Some breweries still respect the people buying their product. They keep recipes simple, fermentation slow, and ingredients honest. You don't need fancy. You just need beer that isn't trying to trick you. But hey, not all beer is out there to get you, as here are 10 brands you ought to be drinking and why. Starting off with number 10. Samuel Adams Boston Lager. Samuel Adams Boston Lager sticks to the basics the right way. It's brewed with full malt, traditional lagering methods, and real hops, giving it depth, balance, and character. There are no gimmicks, no adjunct grains cutting corners, and no shortcuts to make it go down faster. Every sip delivers the flavor you expect from a well-crafted lager, which is why it's one of the few widely available beers that actually respects both the drinker and the craft of brewing. Number 9. Fuller's London Pride. Fuller's London Pride is a standout example of classic English brewing done right. It delivers a balanced malt backbone and just the right amount of bitterness, giving the beer depth and character without overcomplicating things. There are no adjuncts masking the flavor, no shortcuts to make it lighter or faster to drink. Every pint feels intentional, honest, and satisfying, the kind of beer that reminds you what traditional brewing is all about. Number 8. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale sticks to brewing the way it should be done. They use whole cone hops, which give the beer a bright, natural aroma and flavor, instead of hop extracts or oils. The process is transparent, no hidden tricks, no adjunct grains to cut costs, no shortcuts to speed things up. Every batch is crafted to deliver consistent, honest flavor, making it one of the few widely available beers that actually respects both tradition and the drinker's palate. Number 7. Brooklyn Lager. Brooklyn Lager is brewed with traditional methods that focus on quality over shortcuts. It has a solid malt backbone that gives the beer body and depth while maintaining a clean, crisp finish that doesn't overwhelm. There are no unnecessary adjuncts or artificial tricks, just a straightforward lager that tastes like beer should. It's the kind of beer you can savor slowly, knowing it was made with care rather than engineered to disappear quickly. Number 6. Timothy Taylor Landlord. Timothy Taylor Landlord is a beer that takes its time. Brewed with open fermentation, it allows the yeast to develop naturally, creating depth and complexity in every batch. The process prioritizes patience over speed, and there's a clear respect for the ingredients' full malt, proper hops, and traditional methods. The result is a beer with character, balance, and authenticity. It's the kind of brew that reminds you what thoughtful, honest brewing can taste like. Number 5. Newcastle Brown Ale. Newcastle Brown Ale keeps things simple and honest. The recipe focuses on real malt and hops without using additives or tricks to create fake smoothness. What you get is balanced richness from the malt, subtle bitterness from the hops, and a clean finish that doesn't rely on gimmicks. It's approachable, satisfying, and consistent, proving that you don't need flashy marketing or complicated processes to make a beer worth drinking. Number 4. Weihenstephaner Helles. Weihenstephaner Helles comes from the world's oldest brewery, with a brewing tradition that dates back over 1,000 years. It's made strictly according to the Reinheitsgebot, The German beer purity law, meaning only water, malt, hops, and yeast are used, no adjuncts, no shortcuts. The result is a beer with genuine flavor, smooth malt character, and a clean, satisfying finish. Every sip reflects centuries of craftsmanship and respect for ingredients. Unlike mass-produced lagers, this beer isn't engineered to disappear. It's brewed to be enjoyed, appreciated, and trusted. Number 3. Paulaner Munich Lager. Paulaner Munich Lager is brewed the way beer used to be, slowly and carefully. The fermentation process is deliberate, allowing the yeast and malt to develop full, rich flavors that give the beer depth and character. There are no tricks, no adjunct grains to lighten it or speed things up, and no gimmicks to mask its taste. What you get is an honest, satisfying lager with a smooth finish that stays true to tradition. It's a beer you can enjoy, knowing every sip reflects quality and craftsmanship, not shortcuts. Number 2. Guinness Draught Fresh. Fresh, locally poured Guinness Draught is a completely different experience from the export bottles. When handled properly, it retains its signature depth, balanced malt, and subtle roasted notes. The nitrogen head adds creaminess without masking the body, letting the beer's flavor shine through. Unlike heavily pasteurized export versions, fresh Guinness delivers the richness and complexity the brand is known for, proving that when beer is treated with care, it can still honor tradition and satisfy the palate with every pour. Number 1. Local independent breweries with transparent recipes. Local independent breweries that share their recipes and brewing methods are the real heroes in today's beer world. When a brewery is transparent about what's inside the bottle, it shows respect for the drinker and confidence in their craft. You're not getting watered-down, adjunct-heavy products or marketing gimmicks, just honest beer made with care. If it tastes like beer, has depth, and isn't trying to disappear on your tongue, you know you're doing it right. Supporting these brewers means supporting quality over corporate shortcuts.